How are you getting on, folks? Look at today wasn't really ideal. The fact that Navan was called off and we are left with, I suppose, the ITV horses. It didn't really, let's just say, fall into place basically. Going on to the onto the ITV horses that we had. Obviously, look at if the Cap Fitz ran a very good race. It looked like it was going to win coming round the final bend or the final two bends, but it just fell away under pressure basically. And yeah, Lenky, although it was odds on, like realistically, it was the best horse. But I just thought the fact that it clattered into the fence, I thought we might have some bit of a squeak when we went by, but just couldn't, I suppose, last it out in the finish basically. As well as that, then the nap of the day, Royal Pegal, 9-4 winner. Very, very cosy winner. It actually drifted out even further. Um, or no, it didn't. It went out to 11-5 after being heavily gambled in, but it was a big, big drift anyway. But very, very cosy winner. Never came off the bridle, and like realistically, it ran away with the victory there. But the most impressive one for me was Dashel Drasher at 13-2. That was a very, very nice winner for us. Obviously, look at it. I think it finished up in around 7-1. 6 or 7-1, whatever it was, but it still, look at it still was a very nice price. And overall, for the bets that we had on there today, we're in small profit. 9-2 and 13-2 realistically are very, very very, very good winners at the end of the day. Moving on to Thurles, I can honestly see Willie Mullins absolutely cleaning up here tomorrow. There's an awful lot of great opportunities for him, and overall it should be a very nice day for him. But there are some horses in here that are at fairly nice profit. There are two odds on horses, but we'll just quickly fly through them. Starting with the 130 Colreevy. Obviously, like I said, for Willie Mullins and Paul Townend, listen, Colreevy is the best mare in the race. There is no doubt about it. She will easily be a graded chaser in time to come, but I certainly think that she is outstanding over the jumps. Like realistically, all you have to do is look back on the races she's ran previous, and she's head and heels above everything else that she's faced. I don't think that there's a mare realistically in the country that's as good as her over a chasing fence. But look at, well, maybe okay, put the kettle on. All right, is slightly better, I would say. But listen, Colreevy is just in this field tomorrow. She is just the class above, and rightfully so. She is odds on, but she's still at a fairly nice price for an odds on horse. Like 8-11 isn't necessarily the worst price in the world you could be given, but I certainly think it's well worth considering, and maybe worth a bit of a Willie Mullins double with the next one here. Moving on then to that, the 2 o'clock, I am going to be going with Allaho here at 10-11, simply because it just looks to be the most likely winner of the whole Willie Mullins string. He's well supported here, and he's well lined out really. He's got some very, very nice horses in here. Ellie May in particular is probably a very nice each way shout, but I think overall 10-11 for a horse that's really put it up to some very good horses in Cheltenham, I can honestly say is the best form on the book. As well as that, Allaho is getting weight in receipt of, I suppose, just overall form basically. But on form ratings, he is the best in the field, and the fact that he's actually receiving weight as well is another bonus. So I could honestly say that Allaho should be winning this at a fairly comfortable margin, and realistically, I don't think you're going to see an easier winner now tomorrow. I think 10-11 is bang on the money. I think it's well worth considering. But I suppose back in the mind, maybe Ellie May each way, the fact that she's undefeated as a chaser, just stands to her as well. The fact that she's a course and distance winner, possibly a forecast could be advised, but I look at it's hard enough to call these sorts of things. 230 then, I'm going to be, look at it, it's a tough old race to call. Could you go for Enjoy Allen? Obviously, you'd have to seriously consider him. The fact that Kieran Murphy has really hit the ground running, and Enjoy Allen has been banging the money in the top two for the last 5 or 6 races now at this stage. But I don't know. I'm just not convinced. I'm going to be going with David O'Brien's here now. Cuspa Carabelli here at 10-1. Sean Flanagan picks up the ride. I just think that overall, the course and distance form and the way the race will be planned out tomorrow. Look, obviously, Enjoy Allen is going to take it up from the front. He's going to put the pressure on at a fairly decent clip. The fact that Cuspa Carabelli is more of a hold-up horse. It'll be more suited to Thurles as well. The fact that Thurles is an uphill finish, it'll just benefit those that are strong finishers. And look at course form, Cuspa Carabelli. It's won once and placed once in 2 runs, I think, in Thurles overall. So realistically, it's a solid enough shout. I think the fact that it's coming in here off the back of, I suppose, look at an average enough sort of run, but the fact that it's a course and distance winner and the fact that it's run well over course and distance in the past, I think 10-1 is an absolute steal of an each way price. Overall, look at it, it's a tough old race to call, and it's probably the toughest race to call, but I just think that it's the best horse in the field, and I think it's got the most chance, and I think at a value point of view, it's the best value in the field, and it's possibly the best value horse of the day. But look, at time will tell whether it'll show up tomorrow or not, or whether Thurles is going to be on or not. I can safely say I'm about half an hour away from Thurles, possibly actually even a little bit more, probably 40 to 50 minutes away. But no sign of snow here. It's a calm enough day. Like, it's cold, but it's not freezing conditions basically. I just think it's got a great chance of being on tomorrow, and I think Cuspa Carabelli, it's all fallen into place for him, and it should be certainly thereabouts in the finish without a shadow of a doubt. 3 o'clock and 3:30 are both patron tips for the Irish Racing Hour, so I won't be covering them. But moving on to the 4 o'clock, and this is going to be my next best of the day. Blanket on the Ground at 6-1. Honestly, I can think of worse horses that have been placed at 6-1 and then ended up winning in Thurles. Realistically, when you look down through all the form book there, obviously look at it needs to find form with no grey areas from Martin Hassett, who is a local trainer as well. So that's obviously, look at that horse is going to be well primed. It's got form to find with the favourite here, who was second to Franco de Port, who has since gone out to win for Willie Mullins. I think it was what? It was grade 2 or grade 3 level in Leopardstown over Christmas. So obviously that is the best form in the book. But when you look back to its last run in Thurles, this Blanket on the Ground, it was, I think, 80-1. Something in along them lines, and it was heavily punted in that particular day. Now, I think Garage Brooder was on it that day. It came up against the likes of Politest, Streets of Diane. Come on, Shane, who else did it come up against? Names just gone completely blank anyway, but all I know is Politest ended up winning, who has since gone on to put up form to the likes of Queen's Brook. Sky Ace at a push, obviously look at it probably would have beaten Sky Ace in Down Ryle, only for it clouting the last. Obviously look at Sky Ace has gone on to bigger and better things since, but I just think that Blanket on the Ground, with the way the race is going to be lined up, obviously look at the favourite is more than likely going to set the pace. No grey areas is probably going to be held up along with Blanket on the Ground. The two of them are definitely going to make a late surge coming into the final straight, and it's going to be a very, very slog of a finish. But the fact that Blanket on the Ground had no grey areas beaten, bar a cumbersome jump at the last, I just think the Garage Brooder is a better jockey in the finish than Packing. That's just my personal opinion. I just think he's that little bit stronger and he's that little bit quicker, and overall as in terms of a racing brain, I just think that he has that little bit of an edge. Now that's not going against Pa King or anything like that. Pa's a very very good jockey in his own rights, but I'm just tied to Garage Bruder here. I think the way his whole riding setup is just gonna fall into place perfectly for Thurles tomorrow, and I think 6-1 is an absolute steal of a price. Moving on then to the 4:30. Then I am going to be going with Calagogo at 4-1. I'm not totally convinced with Emmett Mullins' horses here. Noble Yates, I think he's priced in around 11-10. Obviously, look at the fact that his cousin, I think it is Patrick Mullins. He's taking the ride, for Emmett as well. Like that's a big plus for him. But Jamie Codd is an equally good of a rider as well. I just think the form it has with Vintage Prosecco in the 3:30 race. It's just that little bit of an edge, and the fact that if Vintage Prosecco can win, that's obviously better form in the book for this Calagogo here. Look, at coming from Gordon Elliott's, obviously you would be thinking that it's going to be well primed and everything else like that. Bloodline suggests it should appreciate a bit of a softer ground condition. So that's obviously going to be a big plus for this horse tomorrow. I just think it's a toss-up between the top two in the market, basically. There's one in here, Mahon's Glory, as well. Keep a close eye on that one. That was second last time out. I think it's trained by Dennis Hogan, if I'm not mistaken. But that has a fairly decent chance at a bigger price. I wouldn't necessarily write it off, but it needs to find a hell of a lot. It really does. Vintage Prosecco was a very exciting sort at the start of the year. Now, obviously, Vintage Prosecco has since gone on to come second when left an awful lot to do, but has stayed on very well, and hence is going to be well suited to Thurles tomorrow. So I just think Calagogo, it's got a fairly decent chance. Obviously, look at it. It needs to improve a little bit more to trouble Noble Yates, but I think it has the improvement in him. I think 4-1 is a great price, and overall, hopefully we'll be able to get a few fairly nice price winners here tomorrow. But look, that's all for me. I'm just going to put it out there that I'm serving a temporary ban from Facebook for some reason. I'm on the ball buying step on Facebook, so for those who are wondering why I haven't put it up on Facebook, that's probably the reason why. I'll probably ask anyone that's looking at this to just hit share on the bottom of that and share it on your own personal Facebook pages as well, just to try and boost up the content, basically, and boost up the how would you say, view time and everything else like that. It would really help me out. I'm sort of handicapped into a corner here, the fact that I can't post on Facebook to a following of about 3,000 people. So look, I know it's not going to reach the same heights as the rest of the videos have, but I just think, look, it's worth a shot, and hopefully a couple of you will be able to be kind enough to help me out that way inclined. But look, it's a 24-hour ban. Hopefully by, I think it's around 6 o'clock tomorrow, it'll be finished. But it's just stupid nonsense that Facebook have decided to ban me for something, basically just speaking the truth about something. But I suppose moving on then to the Patreon side of things, if you want to sign up to that, I leave a link in the description below. Now, just be aware, for those who might be new to looking at my videos, that if you're signing up to Patreon, the payment comes out automatically the first of every month. So try not to, I suppose, pay in advance or pay months or a couple of months membership in one go. It doesn't work like that. What you're basically doing there is you're pledging to pay that particular amount every month on the first day of every month, basically. So that's not what we're about. We're just trying to help fund the podcast, basically, to try and get the people in the inside industry just a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for, publication, basically, and just try and get the smaller man's name out there and the smaller woman's name out there. What else is there I have to say? Please make sure to keep liking, sharing, subscribing. If you are going to be having a bet, the very best of luck tomorrow, and look at hopefully we'll be able to get a few more winners like we did there today. Thanks very much. I've been Shane Rooney. Best of luck tomorrow.